So I recently found out that my childhood house burned down, and this was the last place I really remember my dad being happy, and it's the most vivid of my childhood memories, for sure. I lived here for a very long time, so I'm ready to walk through.
I haven't lived here since I was a teenager, so any of the belongings that you see are not mine or my family's, but the house still does hold a lot of emotional significance for me. This was the computer room, so where that can is where my old school PC was, where I was printing off pictures of Jonathan Taylor Thomas or Justin Timberlake or playing solitaire. This room holds a lot of significance because our Christmas tree was usually to the right, and both of my parents claim to have seen the same ghost that they named Charlie in this room around the holidays. To the left, my mom had an organ that she really enjoyed to play, and where you see that rectangular space, there was a portrait of Jesus there that would stare at you no matter where you were in the room, and it always creeped me out so much. And we're about to walk into my room, so every time I walked out of my room, I saw that Jesus picture staring at me, and it was so unsettling. This room is kind of hard for me to look at now without all the NSYNC posters. When I left it, it was wall to wall. I'm not exaggerating. My parents mandated that I leave 6 inches around the light fixture on the ceiling as a fire hazard. But other than that, I had wall to wall NSYNC posters all over the ceiling, memorabilia everywhere. To the right, where that armoire dresser is where the TV was, where I used to play my old school Nintendo with my neighbor friends Joe, Mikey, and Derek. This is where my hidden Eric Bischoff picture was. I wasn't supposed to like the bad guys, quote unquote, so I had this hidden Eric Bischoff picture right there. And obviously, that is funny now because Eric ended up kind of being my adopted dad. But I would have all sorts of little creations hidden in there. Had a lot of sleepovers in this house. As a matter of fact, my first real sleepovers were in this house. Can you imagine that all my clothes fit in there? If you knew me nowadays, that would be very, very hard to imagine. I think I'm still a little afraid of seeing that Jesus portrait as I walk out, but also I had a list of rules for my room, and one of them was that my dad couldn't wear his John Bly hat, who was a villain on this show I watched growing up, and I have memories of that too. The attic, I didn't have bad memories when I lived there, but I had a lot of nightmares about the attic for years after I moved away, and I never knew why. But they eventually stopped when I opened the door in my dream, and all these Dementors came flying down at me, and Professor Snape from Harry Potter walked out and threw me my wand, and I did the Patronus spell, and I never had the dream again. This is the family room where we watched a lot of Monday Night Nitros and pay-per-views, and I have a lot of good memories with my dad here, getting excited over wrestling. This is my parents' room, so I like to pretend that nothing at all exciting or interesting ever happened in this room, ever. I didn't spend a lot of time here as a kid. As a matter of fact, I can't really remember how they had it set up in great detail, but I remember a lot of my dad's collectibles were in here, his ball cards, Beanie Babies, things like that. And I just feel like I can almost feel their energy just because I know how happy they were here. Now, I do know that that is where they hid the Christmas presents. I know this because I found them once, and I was very disappointed. So if we have any youngins watching this, don't ever go after the Christmas presents because it never gives you the thrill that you're looking for. You always just wind up disappointed because then you don't get that excitement on Christmas morning. There's a part of me that always wondered if this is where my parents came back to, because I remember both of them saying that they believed a spirit would come back to where it was happiest. So a part of me has always wondered if they're here. Now, this is something I really discourage with Bryston, but we did have a lot of family meals in the living room on the couch. And I think I watched NSYNC in concert probably about 1 billion times, either on the TV here or the TV in my room. My girlfriends would come over and we would just watch it pretty much every day and gush. Had a lot of family movie nights here. I remember when Hulk Hogan went bad and started the NWO back in the 90s, and I tore my cross necklace off and I threw it across the room because I was so disappointed. And I also remember that this is not only where I had the strongest faith, but also the house I was living in when I denounced my faith. Now, the Christmas tree was right here in this corner for a while as well, and the gray wall had this really pretty mirrored tile that had gold speckling on it, and I loved it so much. And one year my parents got each other the same Western shirt without realizing it as a gift for each other. So we didn't have a fancy dining room table. We had a yellow card table that my parents had set up that was so cluttered with stuff. I remember it just being so cluttered with all of these different things all the time. But they would just sit and drink coffee for hours and have conversations, some of them deep, some of them about really nothing at all, but they would just spend so much time enjoying each other's company. And sometimes I'd come in and contribute to the conversation. My mom was actually standing at the sink the first time I ever got a menstrual cycle, and I remember coming out and telling her, "Mom, I think I know why I've been so grouchy lately." Along with the attic, the bathroom also gave me nightmares, and I'm not sure why. We had a black shower head, and for some reason as a child, I was really afraid of black shower heads, and it was a challenge for me to be able to be comfortable to take baths and showers in this bathroom. It's so much smaller than I remember it being.
Oh my god, so I literally just got the text from Mikey, the childhood friend I mentioned in the video, that the house is no longer a charred shell. It is gone. My childhood house is gone. It's dust. It'll fade into non-existence. And I'm in the closet right now because I was kind of doing my night routine and I don't have my phone or anything in my bedroom. My bedroom specifically is for sleep and sex, and I just don't do anything else in there. So I was in here kind of trying to wind down and stuff, and I got the text because I haven't cut off my texting time yet, and I don't know how to process this. I don't know how to accept this because there's a part of me that looked at that house as a security blanket I could always go to whenever I went home, that was a symbol of my innocence and my childhood and my parents and my family. Because like I said, that was the last time I remember my dad being happy. It was the last time I remember being one big happy family, as my parents would say when I was there filming for you guys, with you guys. It was beautiful. It was hard to see, don't get me wrong, but I had Aaron, my boyfriend, there, so I had that comfort. And I had Tracy, who I've known since 7th grade, there with me, and we had a lot of memories in the house together, so we got to reminisce. And that girl's got me through everything. Thank you if you're watching this. I know you're watching this, so thank you. And Mikey, who obviously I had a lot of connections with. We played basketball together and watched wrestling together. Sometimes he'd come over and play video games together, so he was there too, and we just had kind of this emotional time going through this house and going through that stuff. But now I'll never have that again. I'll never be able to drive by and see it, and I just don't know how to accept that. But I at least wanted to kind of share my thoughts and reactions with you guys as they're happening. And then there's the kind of crazy part of me that's going, what if now my parents' energy is just gonna be scattered, or it doesn't get to be in the place where it was happy, or what's gonna happen to Charlie the ghost if Charlie the ghost was real? So my mind is kind of all over the place, and I don't know how to process and how to accept that this is just another time that I'm having to let go of my parents. I felt like I've had to let go over and over and over again. I had to let go when my mom's dog passed away. I had to let go when I tore her room down and I moved out of the apartment. I've had to let go over and over and over, and this is just another step in that process, and it's raw right now. I will make sure to update you guys kind of as my emotions start to settle and I start to get some perspective. I will definitely update you guys, but I thought it was too serendipitous to not include this as part of it, and I'm just kind of all over the place, but I wanted to share a few of the things that I'm feeling and be open as always with this perspective of my journey here in my pajamas in my closet, crying over a house I haven't lived in decades, but it was really special to me, and I'm grateful for all of the memories I had there, and for the friends that I met while I was living there, and for a wonderful family that loved me. I'm grateful for that, but it's gonna be really hard to let go.